In today's video, I'm going to take us through the three areas: the role of middle managers, the new term called conscious unbossing, and a tool called span of control that can help us understand and assess manager-employee ratio. You may have come across articles and updates around the role of middle managers, the impact of AI on middle managers. A number of organizations are going through a review of their structures and how they're set up, and they're targeting middle managers. There is quite a lot going on with AI solutions and AI tools, and as a result of it, many organizations are embarking on reviewing their structures, maximizing AI offering and support, and reviewing the role of middle managers going forward. Now let's look at some of the larger organizations that have reported the reduction in their workforce, where they focused on assessing and reviewing their middle management level in order to improve efficiency and reduce costs. So for example, UPS, or United Parcel Service, have reported that they reduced its middle management ranks by approximately 6% since the peak of pandemic hiring. In terms of Citigroup and their management cuts, Citigroup has initiated significant reduction in its managerial workforce, cutting approximately 20,000 managerial jobs. This move is part of a broader effort of streamline operations and reduce cost. In terms of Amazon is reportedly considering cutting up to 14,000 managerial roles, which could save the company an estimated $3 billion next year. In terms of Google, as another example, Google has announced plans to cut 10% of its managerial roles as part of cost-cutting measures. This initiative aims to streamline operations and reduce bureaucracy with the company. Now, what does all this information tell us? There's clearly a trend at the moment where a number of organizations are looking to flatten their structures in order to improve decision making, how quickly they make these decisions, access to senior people, and also improve productivity as well as reduced cost, because you don't have to have so many people and so many levels and layers in between the delivery teams and decision making teams, which ultimately guarantees you quicker decision making. The role of middle managers or managers in general definitely needs to be looked at and should be one of the key points of discussion for many leadership teams and organizations. For me, the two questions that need to be debated with any leadership team and organization would be: are we hiring managers to manage people, or are we going to continue to hire managers to have a technical part of their role, where we do need them to do technical side of their role as well as manage some other people? This is the conundrum I do think needs to be explored further. Now let's look at some external data sets that are available to us to use as a reference point and start a conversation with our leadership teams as to why it is important to focus on reviewing middle managers and managers in general terms, especially when it comes to strategic workforce planning and the future of managers in any organization going forward. So there is this new term called conscious unbossing. In a recent survey published by Robert Walters, which is a recruitment agency in the UK, I think they're quite global and international, apparently they've asked 3,600 people who are Gen Z generation to comment on this question and whether they would want to be middle managers or not. So 52% of Gen Z professionals said that they do not want to be middle managers. 72% would choose an individual route to progression over managing others. 69% of them believe that middle management is too high stress and low reward. Double the amount of Gen Z would opt for a flat structure over a hierarchical one. Now we know this, it is quite important to be taken into account when it comes to reviewing our structures in org design and how organizations are set up going forward to be able to plan for advising on structures going forward. Do you want to have flat structures versus hierarchical structures? All of these things will have to be taken into account to be able to put forward some options and recommendations to your decision makers to make the best decision. Now, I mentioned earlier there is a tool called span of control. Span of control is all about assessing the optimal span of control, which means the number of direct reports per manager is very crucial to any organizational efficiency, especially when it comes to understanding managers' capacity, direction and guidance they need to give to their employees, and how many people they can actually realistically manage on a day-to-day basis. This is very important. You can look this up yourself, but I would like to to raise a couple of key considerations for assessing manager-employee ratio and questions you can ask yourself. I'm currently developing a tool which you can download from a digital store in due course. So the number one question you need to focus on is complexity of tasks. You could ask the following questions. Are the tasks performed by team members complex or routine? Do employees require close supervision and guidance? And this will determine pretty much early on as to how many managers do you actually need to have. Then we talk about managerial capacity. How much time can managers decide to coaching and developing their teams? Are managers currently overwhelmed by their number of direct reports? You will often do a review of this in your own data sets, and if you see that one manager is managing 2 people and the other one is managing 20 people, we definitely need to question that and review further as to why that is the case, and is it feasible and realistic for that to continue. When it comes to organizational structure, the questions we could ask would be around how many hierarchical layers exist within the organization. Is the current structure leading to communication bottlenecks or delays in decision making? In terms of employee autonomy, the questions we could ask would be, are team members experienced and capable of working independently? What is the level of decision-making authority granted to employees? In terms of technological support, what tools and systems are in place to facilitate management and communication? And can technology be leveraged to support a wider span of control? In terms of performance metrics, how is managerial effectiveness currently measured? Are there clear KPIs or objectives to assess the impact of span of control and their performance? By systematically doing this and driving these conversations and facilitating these conversations on a team level and department level, you'll be able to establish as a situation and produce a report about it. Then you will be able to ask these questions and obtain final reports as to what kind of recommendations you could be making to your managers as to what could be done differently going forward when it comes to managers and how many actually you need to have going forward. In terms of best practice and what's commonly reported in terms of manager-employee ratio, let's look at some industries and sectors as to what that could be to start with. So in terms of startups or agile teams, you're looking at 1:10, 1:12 ratio to maintain flexibility and innovation. In terms of manufacturing or healthcare sector, you're looking at 1:6 or 1:8 due to safety and compliance requirement. In terms of tech and engineering, you're looking at 1:8, 1:10 to balance autonomy and technical leadership. In terms of sales organizations, you're looking at 1:12, 1:15, where performance metrics are easy to track and spot. If you would like to stay in contact, I suggest you subscribe to my weekly newsletter. You can find the link down below. I share a bit more privately as to what's going on, as well as some tools and toolkits you can use in your roles. If you have liked this video, there are many other similar ones on my channel, so I'll see you in the next one.